Hi and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to try and fix this vintage Akai S700 sampler, which I will focus on in a second. It's from 1987 and the QuickDisk drive in it is broken. So let's have a little look. So if you have one of these samplers or anything with a QuickDisk drive and you want to know if the drive is broken, it's quite easy to see. So this is a box of QuickDisks here. Here is a QuickDisk. We'll just switch it on and then you press the load button. And then it will just sit there making this churning noise forever. So we're going to fix that. I didn't manage to get a proper QuickDisk drive belt. That's what normally breaks, but I have this belt from a Spectrum Plus 3, and if this doesn't work then I'll just get the real deal. But this was the easiest thing that the closest thing that I could get quickly. So we'll start off by opening up the case. So I've already removed the rack ears, which have 4 quite big screws on each side. Not all the samplers come with rack ears, but this one does. And don't forget to unplug the power. And then the lid comes off very easily. And we can see inside the sampler. So the QuickDisk drive is here. I've never removed one of these before, so you may have to bear with me. Though I can see that in order to take this out, I'm going to have to remove this power switch here. So in order to do that, I'm going to take off the front panel. And then on the bottom there is 3 screws as well. This one I think must remain, but you can see there's this tab here which the base plate overlaps. These knobs need to come off. There they are. And the panel is removed. So we want to remove this power switch, which is here, and there's 2 screws at the front that you can access now that the panel's been removed. Now that switch will just swing off to the side. So the next thing will be to unscrew and to try and lift out the drive. There is only one connector here, which is at the back where I'm pointing it out with the screwdriver. Now I can see what looks like some screws holding the drive on. Now I'm holding the drive as I undo the last screw. Let's put it back down. Okay. Let's see how free that is. I think it's just being held in by the cable. Let's try a slightly more substantial screwdriver. Yes, it's free. The connector for the floppy disk was very easy to remove at this stage. There's a yellow wire which is on the left side. But the design is quite awkward actually, so you can't slide it out the front because of the mounting points for the screws. You can't quite lift it out because of the power supply. So there's a number of power connectors around the edge of the board. And it looks like there's 3 screws. Two on this heatsink. And one in the top left corner, which weirdly is quite rusty on my sampler. And there's one clip in the middle. Right, that's the power supply. That's removed as well. So I'm hoping now it will be quite easy to take out the floppy drive. Yes. Ta-da! The drive itself is a lot bigger than a 3.5 inch drive, and this one is very, very dusty. Let's try and clean up some of this dust. It's not the reason why it's not working, but I'm sure it's not helping. The mechanism is also quite agricultural compared to a 3.5 inch drive. Amazing that they used this stuff back in the day. Well, actually, these QuickDisk drives came out after 3.5 inch drives were invented, and they store less space. And you can't do random access, and it looks like the drive is bigger as well, so I don't know. It seems pretty clear to me why these didn't take off, because they were obsolete from the day they were released by the look of it. Okay. I can see one side of the drive belt, and it looks like the belt has snapped, which kind of explains why it's not working, you know. Here's the rest of the belt. Oh, it's all tangled up here, and it's kind of sticky as well. I'm I'm going to use this small screwdriver just to scrape off the remainder of the belt. It seems like removing this triangular plate is a good idea. And there's one remaining screw which is not exactly holding it to the PCB, but it is kind of stabilising it against the PCB, so I'm going to remove that with this small screwdriver. So I'm going to try to remove this circuit board here, which clearly has 3 screws. Let's try and lift this up a bit. I don't want to break anything. There are cables on the back side. Maybe I can lift it just enough to remove this metal piece here. There's another piece of drive belt. You see that? That's horrible, sticky, black mess now. The good news is that it looks like the new drive belt will fit perfectly, even though it wasn't exactly meant for this. Remove the triangle retaining piece. Ah yes, there we go, it's coming. Probably at this point I could fit the belt, because I've got access all the way around that. What were they thinking, back in 1987? They certainly weren't thinking about a low-tech musician in 2020 trying to fix it. Right, that pinion thing here is now relatively clean, but we do need to get rid of some of the crap off the you see that? Grim. I've just got some degreaser here. Oh yeah, that's actually coming very nicely. I should have done that straight away. Top tip, citrus degreaser. Okay, that's as good as I'm going to get it. There is still a little bit of residue left, but here is that Spectrum drive belt. I'm actually going to wash my hands quickly before I put it on, because they're pretty dirty from that old belt. So this is the Spectrum Plus 3 belt that I got. As I say, it's not officially the right belt, but it looks like it's going to work. Now, I don't know if you can see this, but you have to get the belt under the third pillar, the one that was attached to the PCB. Right, that's where it needs to be. So I'm going to put it over the pinion, and now this needs to locate over the top. Wheel there. Is that right? No, it's twisted. Okay. Perfect. New belts on. Now we have to put this top piece back. Good. Right. The circuit board is sprung loaded actually, that's part of the mechanism. So you do need to be careful if you're doing one of these that you don't disturb that mechanism. Okay, good. So far so good. The screw that goes here as part of this triangle metal support is coarse threaded, but the others are have a machine thread, and it also has a smaller screw tip. I'll just rotate it a few times. That is going around. Right, I've snapped that on. On this corner there is a little snap tab. Drivers back together. Let's have some tea. But it'll do. I'm going to slide this back in. There's a tab right here that you have to lift the drive over, so watch out for that. Good, that's back in position. I'm going to screw the drive back now. Now to put back the power supply. Before I put that back, I'm going to need to plug the drive cable back in. There we go, that's snapped back into place. If you're doing this, you should probably put that in before you screw the drive in. I haven't done that, but it would be easier to do that. Power supply then. There's a tab on the bottom right, sorry, the bottom left of the circuit board on the case, and you slide the PCB into a slot on it, so watch out for that. rusty screw is going in first. Okay, great. Now I'm going to plug the power supply back in. So there's two connectors on the top edge, one in the middle, and a total of 4 on the bottom edge. Good. The next thing to put back is the on switch. Phew, nearly there. Next I'll put the front panel on. It kind of snaps in, so be careful of that. Don't forget the countersunk screw goes in the tab on the left. Three knobs go on. The red one is the record level, and the others are grey, Akai grey. I probably should have tested this before now, but I want to do best practice, so I'll put the electrics away. I'll just put one screw on the back for the time being. Okay, it comes on and the drive is making a noise, which it didn't do before. Let's get a QuickDisk, but definitely something is better than it was. Here we go, here's a QuickDisk. Ooh. Well, it has loaded something. So we can say that this is a success. Let's button this up with the last screws on the side. So there's the tools that I used. Two big screwdrivers, one Phillips, one flathead, a small flathead, a small Phillips, long nose pliers, an air blower, a container for the screws, citrus degreaser, and a bit of toilet roll.